Hey guys, and welcome to my QUADMULA build series. In this series I'll be building these three frames here: the QUADMULA F5 split, the QUADMULA F3 split, and the QUADMULA R5. I'll be showing you how to build each one of these frames and some tips and tricks on how to build them better. So let's get into it. Alright, so in this video I will be building the QUADMULA F5 split. This is a 5-inch freestyle frame. It is my favorite freestyle frame of 2023, and I'll tell you more about it as we go along with the build, but let's get into it. Okay, so let's move these two frames to the side for now. We won't be needing them at the moment, and let's open up the QUADMULA Siren F5 split. So one of the nice things that I love about this frame is it comes in this really nice solid packaging, sort of like a chamois packaging. It's a plastic tube that is covered in this sort of wrapping, and it is super nice. It's got the QUADMULA logo there and some cool pixelated design, and it's super easy to open and secures your quad frame parts inside, which is super nice and makes sure that everything's all protected inside. So let's open it up. So first what you want to do is you want to just push down on the end here, and it should just pop right off, just like that. And that is the end cap. Put it aside, and inside here you have all of your parts. I really love how this is packaged. It's really well protected and just is really nice compared to some of the other 5-inch frames that I've tested. And as we open it, everything just slides out like that, and you can use this to store spare parts and anything you want, really. I'll just put that back together and we'll put that to the side. And in this bubble wrap here we have everything we need to build for this Siren F5 split, and we'll just open it up here and I will lay out the parts. These are really nice quality parts, nice carbon, really nice battery straps here. I'll tell you more about it in a sec, but I'll just lay it out and I'll get back to you. Okay, so here we have all of the parts laid out, and first of all we have these really nice battery straps. These are rubberized and they feel really solid. I've tested these on my other QUADMULA Siren F5 frame and I've crashed them a bunch, and these are really durable, haven't had any issues with them. And another thing that I love about this is that they have a small slot taken out of them so that when you put this on the drone it won't press into the components as much, which is a really nice touch. So I love these battery straps as well. Now the next thing we have here is a 3D printed GoPro mount. This is a universal action camera mount, so you can put your GoPro 10, 11, GoPro 11 mini, whatever GoPro you want to put on, an Action 2, an Insta360, any of those action cameras will fit onto this mount, and they include this with every Siren F5 frame, so that's super nice as well. And it's a really nice forest green color, super high quality TPU print, and that's really nice that they include that. Now the next thing that they have here are a bunch of packets of screws. Each packet is labelled, so you'll know which screws are for what, so you won't get anything mixed up, which is awesome. And it just makes it a lot easier to build, so you're not forgetting parts, you're not misplacing stuff, and you just know what to do, because each packet has little labels on it to tell you what they're for. Now the next thing in here, which is awesome, is 2 capacitors with some motor wire or some thin silicon wire and a 3D print. Now this is something that I really love that they include. It is a really solid system, a dual capacitor system, which is really good for filtration for your ESC and your motors. And it is awesome that they include this. It just makes the build a lot nicer, and overall just a really great thing that they include. This is included as well with every Siren F5 frame, so that's another cool thing. Now the next thing here we have are the standoffs. These are a few different sizes. You have some longer ones for up the front because it's a split frame. You have it sunk down a little bit more, so you need a longer standoff to make it level. And then you've got some smaller ones in there for up the top and up the back, so they're nice as well. They got the QUADMULA logo on there, and they're nice solid aluminium standoffs, so that's really nice as well. And another thing that they include is this nice rubberized battery pad. This is really grippy, and with these battery straps, as soon as you put your battery on there, it sticks to this really well, and it sticks to the battery straps really well, and your battery isn't going to go anywhere, so that's really nice as well. And another thing that they include is 2 zip ties to hold down your action camera mount. it just slots through this little hole in the middle here, and it's really nice that they include that just to secure it down a bit more. Now the next thing that they have here is the wiggle plate and the camera plates. This is in a little white bag. Here we have 4 arms, which I'll open up in a second, and we have the bottom, mid and top plate in this package here. Alright, now that I have gone over all the stuff that is included with this frame, let's start to build it. So for the tools that you will need a screwdriver kit, hex tool kit. I will be using a 1.5mm hex tool and a 2mm hex tool. You can use Allen keys if you want, but I highly recommend getting hex tools. They're really nice. This is a specific one for FPV, but you can just use any kind of hex tool that you want. I'll have some links down below if you want to check that out, and I'll also have links to all of the QUADMULA frames that I'll be building in this build series, so make sure to check them out as well. And let's get on to the build. Alright, so first of all, let's open up the packages here. I'll open up the carbon fiber pieces first. So we will start off with our smallest packet here. This has got the camera plates and the wiggle plate, and you can just peel it off like that. And here we have all the pieces. So this has got the base camera plate piece and the 2 side plates for the camera. And this is the the wiggle plate, which holds in the stack screws and locks in all the arms, which is nice. And the next package we have here is the arms, so I'll just open this. It's got this little green pull tab, and it folds out just like so. And here we have all our 4 arms. These are really nice carbon. They're really smooth on the sides, and they feel really high quality, so put those to the side for now. And then last carbon fiber pack is our top, middle and bottom plate, so I'll just open that. And there you go. The middle plate here has the press nuts already installed, which is really nice, so you don't have to do that. It's just a little bit of extra hassle if you have to install press nuts, so it's nice that they do that pre-installed. We have the the bottom plate here. It's got the countersunk screws, and we have the top plate here, which is again really nice carbon. We'll put that to the side as well. Alright, so first thing we will want to do is we will get our wiggle plate here, and I'll just zoom in the camera real quick to show you up close of what I'm going to do. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to get your wiggle plate here. This has got 4 countersunk screw holes and 2 little notches on the side that stick out here. And you will want to get your packet of screws that says HSA stack screws on it. This will have a few little green 3D prints and some long 2M screws. So we'll just open that packet up and put it out here. And there's a few different bits and pieces in there, don't worry about them too much right now. And we'll just put that off to the side. And all we need in this are the 4 M2 screws. So these are the screws that we will need. These are the little M2 screws that we will put a little plastic tubing over. And the next thing we'll get is this here, the mid plate. This has the press nuts on it. Make sure that you have the press nuts facing down. You don't want them facing up, otherwise it'll interfere with in the arm placement. So you just want to make sure that you have those facing down. Just place that on the table, and you want to get your wiggle plate here. Now you want to make sure that this has the little cutout pieces facing up. So this has a little indent on the inside here, and you want to make sure that that's the right way up. So it has 4 little spots that these screws will sit flat. If the screws do not sit flat, just flip it over. Obviously on this side, which it doesn't have the little cutouts, the screws sit sitting up a little bit. They don't sit flush, so you just want to make sure that you have it the right way up. So you just want to get all 4 screws, and I'd start with just 1 for now. And what you want to do, it doesn't really matter which direction you have this, as long as you've got it facing the little nubs on each end. You want to make sure that they're facing going long ways, and you want to make sure that they line up with these little countersunk pieces here. And we'll just push this down on here, and these are M2 screws. These just screw into the press nuts that are installed. And we'll just get our hex tool piece, and we will just screw them down for now. Right, and once we have that screwed down, you can see that it sticks up the top there. This is what your stack mounts to, and we will put a little plastic tubing over it in a minute, but we'll just install all of the other 4 screws. Now make sure that that first one goes in properly. If there's anything in the way, or if you haven't got this piece the right way around, make sure to take that off and redo it the right way around. But you just want to have this facing long ways, going forwards and backwards like this. You don't want to have it go into the side. It's pretty easy to put it the right way around because you have these little cutouts on the side here that will line up nice and flush. So all we want to do is we will grab our 3 other M2 screws and we will just put them in the other 4 slots here, and we will just screw them in, and I'll get back to you once I've done that. Alright, so once you've done that, I'm just going to get my screwdriver and just go over all of these screws to make sure that they are nice and tight. This won't really matter if you have it super loose, but you just want to have it nice and tight to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere, and also keep these nice and solid on the top. So now you have all of your 4 screws. This will hold your stack, and you might be wondering why these are so thin. Well, we actually get some of this thin plastic tubing here, and it slots over the top here. This just adds an extra level of dampening to the flight controller and ESC, so it filters out all of the vibrations in this frame, which it doesn't really have any, but it's just a nice touch as well. So this just slots over. I'll put that on once I've got all the arms on, but that's just to stop the vibrations as much, and we will get to that in just a minute. But now we will go on to installing the bottom plate and the arms. Alright, so what you want to do now is you want to get your bottom plate. This has 8 countersunk screw holes here, and you will want to get your 4 arms here. These all are really nice high quality carbon fiber. They're super strong and they're really nice and thick as well, but they're also really light for a freestyle frame. So we'll just put all of these little bits to the side. Another thing that they include with this is a USB-C and a micro USB little plug that goes into your flight controller. So if you don't want to get dirt or dust or water into your flight controller plug, then you can just put these in, and it's really nice as well. So we'll just put those to the side for now. So you will also need this little packet that has a few things in it. I'll get to that in a minute. This has the Vista mount for your antenna. You can buy this separately when you're buying the Freestyle frame, when you're ordering this from QUADMULA, and you can get a bunch of different mounts as well. You can also get arm guards for this, so these are 3D printed arm guards. You can buy those all when you're ordering this frame, but I'll just put that to the side. And we will get our different screws here. So we have a few different screws. We have 4 of these longer countersunk screws. We have 4 of these shorter countersunk screws, and then we have 4 of these button head screws here as well. Now the screws that we'll be needing for this at the moment will be the countersunk screws, so we'll just put these button head screws to the side, and we will get our arms. And the best way that I find installing this is you want to get your bottom plate, make sure that the countersunk holes are facing up. If they're not, then your screws will not sit flush. So you just want to make sure you have that up the right way, and you want to make sure that you have it facing with the longer end facing the opposite to this side here. So you want to make sure that it lines up like that. Okay, so what you want to do is you are going to get your arm, and you're just going to hold it in place. Get your bottom plate and just put it on top there. Make sure you line up the hole, and we're just going to get our longer countersunk screw and put it through this hole here, and make sure that it goes right through to the other side, and just like that. You might need your screwdriver because it's a little bit tight. Just get your 2mm driver, and that should slot in nicely. So we're just going to do one arm for now, and next you're going to get your shorter countersunk screw, and you're just going to put that in the hole that's just next to this one, and this will lock in the arm and make sure that everything's nice and tight. We'll just screw that in. I'll get my screwdriver, and don't screw everything super tight, just make sure it holds in place. And we have one arm in now. and you can get your other arm and you can just slot it in and make sure that it lines up with the wiggle plate, and get your longer countersunk screw and just place it through the outer hole here, just like that, and just push it down. You might need a screwdriver because it's a bit of a tight fit with the carbon. And it will go through the hole on the other side. And we will get our shorter countersunk screw and put that in the middle as well. Just make sure that this is all pushed down. Just push down the other side here, might need a bit of force. And we'll just put down the other screw here. And we can just loosely tighten those in there for now. That should go there. These two screws on the edge, this is what holds the standoff, so that won't go into any screw holes at the moment, so they'll just be sitting there for now. Just flip it around the other side and we'll get our other two arms. Now you want to make sure that these are all facing the right way. These ones will be facing out, so you're pretty much creating a big X. Just slot them in there like that. Again, grab your longer countersunk screw and put it to the edge hole here. Get your screwdriver and just screw it in. And I actually prefer having a bit more of a tight fit like this. It means that everything is just a little bit more secured, and I really prefer it to the looser fit, so you might need to screw this in a little bit. And we have our outer screw in there, and then you get your shorter countersunk screw, just as before. And all four arms are really easy to replace. All you need to do is to take off two screws and they just slot right out, which is really nice. They also are held in there really solid, so there is zero wiggle at all, which is really nice and just has a really good performance characteristic for when you are doing freestyle flying. And for this last arm, again, longer countersunk screw on the end, and just screw it in like that. And then your shorter countersunk screw in the middle here, and we'll just screw that down as well. And now you can go over all the screws, make sure everything's nice and tight. I like doing it in a bit of an X pattern just so that everything's tightened down evenly. The main thing you want to make sure is tight is the 4 screws in the middle here. So these 2 screws here and these 2 screws here, because they are what lock in the arms. These 4 on the outside here, they are just holding on the standoffs, and they don't matter as much for locking in the frame. But we'll just tighten those up. And everything seems to be nice and tight, so we will move on to the next thing, and that is the standoffs for the middle 4 here. So for our next packet, we will just grab the standoff packet here. It doesn't have any label on it, but it's pretty obvious there's only one packet, so we'll just open that up here, just move these to the side. And you'll find that there are 2 longer ones than any of the others in the packet. We'll just put those to the side for now. Okay, so now we're just going to get 4 of these 20mm standoffs, and we will just put them on the 4 screws on the edges that we've put on there, and they just screw on like so. These are really nice solid standoffs. I haven't had any issues with any of them breaking. They've been really nice and solid. They look really cool as well. Got a little QUADMULA logo on the side there. And now we have our 4 little standoffs here that are secured on the top. Alright, now the next thing I'm going to move on to is our Vista installation kit here. So you can order this separately if you want. It's an option. You can order all different kits for this. You can get ones for Vista, Walk, Snail, Analog, DJI 03, HD0, anything you want you can fit in here. It's got 20 by 20mm mounting, it's got zip tie holes, it's got 25 by 25, so pretty much any kind of video transmitter system you can fit in here. So we'll just open this packet. Now this here comes with two little antenna holders for your Vista. We'll just put that to the side, and a little rubber little case thing that goes into your USB-C port on the Vista as well. And we'll just open up this packet here. This has a few different screws and pieces in it. So we will just get out these four longer M2 screws, and we'll be putting these in the 20mm holes here. So we'll be putting them on the inner holes in here. And we'll just get these little nylon nuts that are included in the package, and we'll just screw them on. And we'll just put them on loosely for now, because we won't need them to be super tight. And we'll just do that with all four screws. And the bottom here, you can put your 1.5mm hex driver tool. I'm just going to put the other screws on here for now. Just going to put them on loosely, just so that we can put that all together in a minute. And we'll get our last screw here. We'll just put that on the bottom, and you want to make sure that you got all your four holes here. I've got them in the little slidable slots here, as they fit the Vista perfectly. And you have a little bit of adjustment there, just in case you need to change around anything. And we'll put our last screw on here. We'll just screw this down. Also, the QUADMULA frame comes with a few rubber grommets that are little spacers, so you can put them on the stack screws if you want to have some spacing between the metal and the stack screws, and also the Vista mounting. So now we have all the four screws in the back. That can be used for your Vista, your walk snail, HD0, analog, the DJI 03. This fits any of those in there, which is really nice. And now we will move on to the two standoffs on the back here. I recommend putting these screws in first before you put on these standoffs. You can put them on after, but I just find it a little bit easier because you have a bit more access. So we will get these two screws that are a little bit shorter in the packet. So this is the packet that said the standoff screws. So that came in that packet, and we'll just put them in here. So that was in the bottom plate screw pack, and you'll just get the shorter one for the back here, and you'll get your shorter 20mm standoff, and we'll just screw it on like that. And again, get your shorter little button head screw. These aren't countersunk screws. Get your little standoff here and screw them on just like that. And now we will move on to the front now. Okay, so on the front here we have a few more carbon fiber pieces that we will need. We have the camera plate locking piece, so this is what locks in the camera plate on the bottom, and we have our two camera plates. So what we want to do is we're going to install our camera plate piece first, and what you'll need is you'll need your two longer standoffs that we put away earlier, your camera plate, and the two longer screws that were in the bottom plate package. So what you want to do, flip the frame over and put these two longer screws in the bottom here, and then we will flip it back over, making sure we don't flip out those screws. Get your camera plate, make sure it's facing inwards so that it doesn't stick out. Just place that over the top here and make sure that lines up nicely, and then you can get your 25mm standoffs and just screw them on like that. And now you have all of your standoffs on and your camera plate. Don't forget this camera plate, otherwise you won't be able to mount your camera properly. And we'll put that in there. And also, just before we finish up here by putting the top plate on, I'm just going to show you this capacitor mount. This is really nice. So on here you have this little 3D printed mount, and you can just push it onto the standoffs. This goes up the front here, and you can push it right down. I'm just going to have it sitting up here for now, and you can get your capacitors, and these capacitors can just sit in here, and I'll show you how to wire them up in another video. I'll make sure to link that in the comments below. I'll show you that video of the build. and this is really nice to have a dual capacitor holder. You can just run one capacitor if you want, but it can hold two as well, which is really nice. Just a little bit of extra filtering for the ESC and the motors. And also in that capacitor packet you get some 20 gauge wire here to wire up to your ESC. That's included with all of the QUADMULA Siren F5 frames. Now for now I'm just going to push this capacitor mount down to the bottom here. Okay, so the last few things here I'm going to do, I'm going to get the camera plates here. I'm going to make sure that these are facing the right way. It'll have the wider section on the top, and you can you just want to make sure that you have these with this little curve here going up, not going down like that. So just put that on here. We'll just put that on the side there. And just put them to there. They'll sit on the inside of the standoffs, just like so, and they will hold in there really nicely like that. And the last few things that we're going to do, I'm going to get this little piece of thin plastic tubing. This was included with the standoffs kit here, and what we're going to do is we're just going to actually slide them on top of the standoffs here. So I'm just going to cut them to the length that I'll think I'll need them. And this turns these M2 screws into M3 screws, so you just want to measure out how long you want this piece of tubing. And I'll cut it right about there. And those camera plates have just fallen off, but I'll put them back on in a sec. Just going to get my piece of tubing. I'll just slide it over the M2 screws, just like so, leaving a little bit of metal exposed on the top, just enough to fit your little screw on top to hold down the stack. Again, I'll just cut some more pieces of this tubing, just making sure that's the right length. Alright, so I now have 4 pieces of tubing here. I'll just slide them over the remaining stack screws. Just slot down like that. And these should slide over pretty easily. And now we have all 4 of these stack screw adapters installed. This is really nice, just adds a little bit of dampening to your frame, to the ESC and flight controller. And now we will get our Vista mount, so we'll just put this on the back here. This will just slot on the top there like that, and that will hold your antenna for your Vista. Also included in the kit are a bunch of these little green 3D printed press nut thingies that go on the top of your Vista and your stack. You can use little nylon nuts if you want instead, but I prefer to use these. They hold in really nice. You can do a combo of these on top and then a stack screw, or vice versa, but I just like to do the 3D printed little stack screw holders. And these are really nice, they're solid and they work really well. And now we have our antenna installed, now we have our antenna holder installed, we have our Vista mount, our stack screws, our capacitor holder, and we'll just slot back in these camera plates as we'll be putting on the last few things. And we'll just put that off to the side for now. And now we will get our 3D printed action camera mount. And the packet that has no label on it, but you'll be able to tell it has some little aluminium spacers and 4 countersunk screws. So this is the system that QUADMULA uses to secure all of their 3D printed mounts, which is really nice. It's got this little aluminium piece with a countersunk screw hole, and your countersunk screw, and you'll just push the countersunk screw in just like so. And you'll press it through just like that, and we'll do that with all 4 screws. Alright, so now that we have all 4 of these countersunk screws installed, we can grab our top plate here and make sure that you have your top plate with the countersunk screws. There's two countersunk screws here that are going to be facing up, and we will get our top plate just like this. And just before we install this top plate on the top, I'm just going to get this little battery pad that's included, and we will place it, just make sure it lines up. Just put it back here a little bit, just make sure this all lines up nice. And now you have your little battery pad on top there. And now we can get our action camera mount. We can place that on the front here, and this will slot into the 4 screw holes on the front, just like so. We can place that on top of the frame, get our screwdriver with M2 screw mount on here. So this is an M2 screwdriver hex tool. I'll just screw down nice and tight like that, and we will just screw that in. Just finish putting in those 4. Alright, and we'll get our final packet here, the top plate screw set. We'll just pull those out here. You've got some little screws here which are for the camera. Put that to the side, and you have 2 little countersunk screws here. These are really short, and these will just go into the screws in the back here. Just put one in just to hold it in for now, and we will get the other little countersunk screw, just screws into this piece here. Screw that down, and then we get these little button head screws. They're all the same length, so it doesn't really matter. Screw that down on the back here. Make sure that slots in there. Move these screws off to the side, just make sure there's nothing else here. You'll have a little bit of leftover parts here for if you use different mounts and stuff. But there you go, that is your finished QUADMULA Siren F5 split frame. This is one of the best, if not the best, 5-inch freestyle frames I've ever flown. Out of my flying experience, I've been flying this thing for almost a month now, and this thing is absolutely awesome. It's super easy to build, super durable, really well designed, and I'll be doing a build video of the parts that I'll be putting in this. I'll be posting that sometime soon. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, hopefully you found this helpful. And make sure to check out QUADMULA. I have links to this frame, all the stuff that I've used in this video down below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and hopefully you enjoyed. Make sure to stay tuned for my other QUADMULA Siren build videos. I'll have 2 more coming out soon. I'll have the Siren F3 and the Siren R5, which will be super exciting, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Apart from that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.